So good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Green Economy Change Champions within Local Government Showcase. I am Tyra Goor, a senior analyst from the Circular Economy program at GreenCape, and I will be your MC for today. We have a really interesting program lined up for you, and before we jump in, let's just go through some quick admin. We will be recording the session, and it will be shared along with the presentations after the showcase. We unfortunately do not have too much time for questions today. Therefore, we will take 2 questions each for each one of the top 5 municipal presentations. If we do not manage to answer all of the questions, you are welcome to contact GreenCape afterwards, and we will forward it to the relevant party. So the aim of today is to highlight the extraordinarily innovative and sustainable initiatives that are being implemented by municipalities across the country. We would also like to facilitate shared learnings and best practice between municipalities within the country. And within a municipal context, it can be quite challenging. It can be quite challenging to change and improve the mechanisms of service delivery. However, the municipalities that we will be showcasing today have found a way to do more in a better way. Our opening speaker, our program for today is, we'll start off with our opening speaker, Dora Marama, from Salga, who will present on incorporating sustainability in local government. We'll then have a presentation from Cecilia Koch, who's from the Frederick Naumann Foundation, and they are funding this initiative, and they will speak about their role in enhancing sustainability. My colleague Kirti Chetty will then present on a brief summary of the other nominated projects that did not make the short 5 list, but are pretty impressive too. I will then go through the showcase evaluation criteria. We will then get to the heart of today's event, and that we will see the top 5 municipal presentations that have been shortlisted from all the nominated projects. We'll then have some feedback from the judges on which of the top 5 they really stood out to them. And finally, we will get to the announcement of the winner. I just wanted to check that our speaker has joined us. Kirti, has Dora joined us? Otherwise, we can maybe swap. So I think in the meantime, we can maybe swap around. Cecilia, if you don't mind going first while we wait for Dora to join us, then we can jump to Dora afterwards, if that's okay. So before, let me introduce Cecilia, our representative from the Frederick Naumann Foundation. Cecilia is the head of research and advocacy in South Africa. In this role, Cecilia runs projects that strengthen constitutional democracy, the rule of law, human rights, as well as the green economy. She holds degrees in law and philosophy. Cecilia, I now hand over to you.
Thank you so much, Tahira. Good morning, everyone. And it is such a pleasure to be here. And it's also a joy for me to welcome you on behalf of the Friedrich Naumann Foundation today. And for those of you who don't know us, we're an international nonprofit organization with over 40 offices around the world, and our head office is in Potsdam, just outside Berlin in Germany. And as Tahira already mentioned, what we do throughout the world is to promote constitutional democracy, human rights, the rule of law, and the green economy. So an economy that is socially inclusive, that is resource efficient, that has low CO2 emissions, is decentralized, competitive, and one that enables a thriving SME sector. And it's really around the promotion of the green economy that we partner with GreenCape, and we partner with GreenCape around a whole bouquet of projects. But it's particularly exciting to be partnering around this event, celebrating municipal green economy change champions. There are such exciting and innovative sustainability projects that are being implemented at local government level. And this is often the case despite great challenges and major complexities. So we are very excited and looking forward to hearing about all the projects that will be presented today by the 5 finalists. And firstly, congratulations on being a finalist. That already in and of itself speaks volumes about the projects that you are carrying out in your municipalities. And finally, thank you for joining us, and we hope that you enjoy the event.
Thank you very much, Cecilia. Dora has just joined us for the session now. So thank you so much for going first. I would like to introduce Dora. So Dora will be presenting on incorporating sustainability in local government. She is currently the portfolio head of municipal sustainability at the South African Local Government Association. And she's been involved and has worked with a wide range of multi-stakeholders in various sectors, including small-scale agriculture, environment, climate change, renewable energy, gender and land rights at local, national, and international levels. She's also founded the Gender CC Southern Africa Women for Climate Change, Climate Justice in 2008, and co-founded the Green Business College in 2017, a social enterprise based in Johannesburg dedicated to building green entrepreneurs by uniting green skills with business know-how. Dora, thank you so much for agreeing to be here today and to open this event for us.
Thank you so much, and apologies for the late kind of joining. I had another event that was going, so I got distracted there. But thank you so much to the colleagues at GreenCape for your work and for your continuous dedication into really partnering with local government to be able to highlight the work that has been done that many of us don't really get to hear about it. Thank you also for to your supporters, Frederick Newman Foundation. We are really grateful that even in this year we are able to see this work advance. So we had a chance in the beginning of this process to really mobilize municipalities, because our interest is not to have the same participants or the same entrants of municipalities, which most probably would be your metros and your secondary cities that are really very well resourced. But we also wanted to find out if there are some smaller municipalities that may be far flung from the attention of everyone, and that are really doing some amazing things. And I was grateful to hear that after that session that there was a bit of increase in terms of applications, and they may not have made it, but I think it is a great sign. It is a great sign that this program is really advancing. I think for me, this is a very opportune time, besides the fact that we are just a couple of weeks away to the African COP27 in Egypt. But also we are on the eve of the climate change bill, which may become an act anytime soon, anytime. And really what it does is it's really going to require of municipalities to develop climate change action plans, to conduct risk and vulnerability assessment, to look at their greenhouse gas inventories and things like that. And I think this competition or this award, really what it's doing, it's really trying to encourage, but again, to also raise awareness around the issues of greening in local government that are really going to take the center stage when it comes to some of the actions that municipalities have to implement as part of their climate change response action plans that are going to be required by the Climate Change Act. So literally you are ahead of your time. You are laying a serious foundation, and that is just so needed with the municipalities. We need everyone, all hands on deck, for us to be able to galvanize resources, but also to motivate and to support and build the capacity of municipalities, particularly the smaller ones, to really start identifying some of the green interventions or even the climate response opportunities within their day-to-day service delivery, in how they deliver water and sanitation, in how they deliver electricity. I think it is important that already some of the winners or even the entrants of this award are starting to showcase how things like those can be done. Because always when we talk about the issues of climate change and climate action in municipalities, we have been confronted with a challenge that it is an unfunded mandate. However, we know that there are many opportunities that are hidden within the way that things are already being done within municipalities that can be already, amplified on. And sometimes we lack the frame of reference. Municipalities don't have the frame of reference to really understand how one goes about doing such when delivering a sanitation service. And I'm excited that some of the projects that we are looking at here are starting to make that real. I think we will have something to showcase until the next awards, and I hope we do get the funding to continue with this in the next year so that many more municipalities could be able to come on board. As SALGA, we are excited and we see this as a really very, very crucial and important step that will assist us to get where we would like to get as far as climate change response is concerned within municipalities. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dora. And I mean, I think we definitely agree. Municipalities have a critical role in ensuring long-term sustainability within our country. And we really need to try and unlock the many barriers to enable municipalities to deliver service in a more sustainable way. And I think this initiative of just showcasing the amazing stuff that are happening already and learning from each other will really help us grow together across the country and learn from each other so that we don't all have to, struggle in the same way. So this brings us to a really nice part of our showcase is that we received so many nominations of really amazing, innovative, and sustainable projects from across the country, and it was not easy for the judges to shortlist the top 5. The nominated projects demonstrated a range of sustainable initiatives that are being planned and implemented by municipalities across the country. And therefore, we wanted to share a brief summary of all the projects that were nominated and not just the top 5, which my colleague Kirti will now take you through. Kirti, I'll hand over to you.
Thanks, Tahira. So yes, as Tahira mentioned, it was really exciting to be able to work on this project because we received so many incredible, innovative, and inspiring submissions from across the country. And as she mentioned, we couldn't shortlist them all. So we just wanted to take a moment to highlight these municipalities and the change champions within them. So the project teams who are involved in making these projects happen. So we received submissions across 3 main categories, so water, waste, and energy. And we also received some submissions in the waste and energy category, so all waste to energy category. So energy is leading at 41%, but it's really great to see that municipalities are also increasing their efforts in waste management, which sits at 24%. And water and waste to energy are then tied at 18%, with some really cool initiatives in these sectors too. So if we zoom into the sectors, there are a few project themes that we can draw out. And the first is technology and data. So the Smart Facility Management project rolled out by the City of Cape Town involves the integrated use of technology for data management of a large inventory of municipal resources. And this project has managed to effectively achieve the data capture of many municipal resources, which is typically quite challenging. The City of Cape Town has also managed to efficiently provide energy performance certificates for a number of municipal buildings. And they achieved this by efficiently addressing complex challenges upfront that were to ensure that the data capture was swift for the provision of the certificates. Another really, really great feat. The next theme is waste management. Wittenberg Municipality implemented an extremely innovative strategy to improve community participation and buy-in by introducing a monetary incentive to encourage the use of a recycling drop-off point. And this strategy is very unique and especially commendable since the challenges given in modifying community behavior, which is also a really big challenge. Kuka Municipality is also making strides in terms of recycling by setting up recycling and buyback centers by ensuring the inclusion of waste reclaimers to improve waste management and social upliftment. So their approach is multi-pronged to ensure that waste management is as collaborative and inclusive as possible. And it's really great to see this encouragement of community participation in this sector. Also in the City of Cape Town, landfill gas extraction is happening, where harmful methane gas is being captured to produce electricity, and carbon credits are also being generated for additional revenue. And this is an exciting venture as carbon credits are becoming an increasingly hot topic. eThekwini Municipality is involved with a project that aids the transition to a more circular economy in a local context by developing a pilot to convert market food waste to energy. And although it's still in its early stages, the project holds really great potential in the waste to energy space, and even better, promotes local development in a market setting. And lastly, in terms of waste management, eThekwini Municipality is also currently implementing a green concrete pavers project, which involves the inclusion of majority non-recyclable materials into a paving block. And they've also developed an earth-like resin that prevents UV degradation and subsequent microplastic leakage into the environment over time. The last project theme is energy. Solar PV in the form of floating solar is being rolled out within the city of Cape Town. What's cool about this initiative is that the technology enables both water saving and the provision of renewable energy for the city. In the city of Tshwane, combined heat and power, or CHP, is being implemented at a wastewater treatment plant. And here, modular generator design is helping to maximize energy or electricity generation and the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions of the city. Wittenberg Municipality is enhancing their revenue in order to improve electricity provision by addressing illegal electricity connections. In particular, they're making use of a technology called split prepaid meter technology to enable the municipality and the customer to independently monitor consumption. This is an innovative method to minimize the chances of theft and to encourage more efficient consumption of electricity. And finally, a wheeling pilot in the city of Cape Town is enabling the diversification of the city's energy mix by making use of existing infrastructure to allow for decarbonization and decrease the reliance on the national grid. So as you can hear, we've received a variety of exciting projects, each in different stages of development, with varying impacts and benefits. And we do not envy the judges, as their jobs must have been extremely difficult. We could also only shortlist 5 projects and select a single winner. But each project deserves recognition and acknowledgement, especially the project teams who work hard to ensure the success of the project. Change champions like yourselves are doing incredible work to improve the sustainability of municipalities and act as an inspiration for us all. Thank you so much for your continued efforts. I'll now hand over to Tahira to go through the evaluation criteria.
Thank you very much, Kirti. I agree, we didn't envy the judge's position. It must have been quite a tough choice to shortlist the top 5 and the winner as well. So the nominated projects were evaluated based on the following criteria. We first looked at the level of innovation. So is the solution unique compared to what other municipalities are doing across the country? We also looked at environmental sustainability. So does the solution contribute to a reduction in environmental impact in terms of energy, water, waste, or natural system regeneration or protection? We also looked at the financial model. So is there clarity in understanding where the funding is sourced from, and payback periods and return on investment? So that was quite interesting to see, because I think this is especially important for other municipalities to learn from. And so this is one of the learnings that we definitely wanted to pull out. We then looked at how the project navigated complex municipal processes. We understand that procurement can be quite a challenge, so we really wanted to learn and understand what processes they followed here. And finally, the last criteria for evaluation was, is the project replicable either at the same municipality or at other municipalities across the country? So I think these were the criteria that we used to evaluate the various nominated projects, which led us to the shortlisting the top 5 and eventually the winner as well. We are now at the main part of today's showcase, which is where we'll be learning about the shortlisted top 5 initiatives. We have recorded the presentations with each of the municipalities to cater for any load shedding challenges. But fortunately today, load shedding has stopped. But just to mitigate that challenge, we pre-recorded all the presentations. After each presentation, the municipal representative will be able to answer questions about the initiative. As I mentioned earlier, we can only take 2 questions for each project, but we will be happy to pass on any unanswered questions to the respective municipalities after the showcase. So the first initiative that will be presented is Overstrand Municipality's outsourcing of bulk water services operation and maintenance. This will be presented by Henry Bahandre. Can we please play the video? We can't hear.
Sourcing of the bulk water services facilities operation and maintenance in our municipality. Just to give some context to the project, the municipality outsourced the operation and maintenance of water services facilities for a 15-year contract period, which started in December 2018. And the reasons for exploring this outsourcing option initially was that we completed significant upgrades to our water and sanitation infrastructure, including several additional plants and in the region of 40% capacity increases. We also implemented several new technologies in the process, and we soon realized that we require specific skills and experience to be able to continuously operate and maintain the infrastructure efficiently. So why the solution? There are requirements in the Municipal Systems Act that the municipality has to review the appropriate mechanism to deliver services when a service is significantly upgraded, extended, or approved. So the Overstrand Council resolved that such an assessment of service delivery mechanisms be done. The recommendation flowing from that assessment was that the municipality continue with the internal service delivery mechanism, but with an outsourcing contract to support the municipality in the function, with the main aims of the contract being asset preservation in the long term, improved efficiencies in operation and maintenance, and also the upskilling of staff. This graphic just shows the different processes that we had to follow from the initial Section 78 assessment process, council resolutions. We had since the council resolution to have the support contract. We had the procurement process on the left. We had a separate process with the unions, engagement with the unions on staff transfers, etc. And once the preferred bidder was identified, we also had to go through the MFMA Section 33 process. That's a requirement for any long-term contracts. We also had to solicit the views of the public and several government departments. So these three parallel processes then were included in the final council report, where they approved the final contract before it was signed and implemented in December 2018. So the funding of this project, the preparation stages of the project, was funded from the municipality's operational budget. That included the Section 78 process, the feasibility study, and the specifications and procurement process. The project team consisted of municipal officials as well as external financial, legal, and technical experts that had to contribute with their expertise. At the implementation stage, the operational budgets that was previously used for the internal service delivery mechanism was ring-fenced and shifted to fund the monthly expenditure on this contract. And very importantly, no additional budget was required to implement the project. In terms of profitability, this project is not really a capital investment with a payback period or return on investment, but is rather funded from the operational budget, which is in turn funded from the municipality's water and sanitation tariffs. We had to demonstrate the long-term effect of the contract on future municipal budgets and tariffs to council during the MFMA Section 33 process before final approval. And as I said, no additional increase in the water and sewage tariffs or budgets was required. Escalation factors have been built into the contract to protect the sustainability of the contract and also for the protection of both parties. So what makes this project unique? The contract is not a normal PPP contract as we know it, or a normal maintenance contract, but a long-term hybrid sort of contracting model that was developed for the Overstrand. The municipality remains the Water Services Authority and provider in terms of the Water Services Act, and we remain fully accountable to our customers and responsible for all long-term planning, budgeting and tariff setting, etc. The municipality still operates the water and sewer networks internally. That is not part of the contract. And then the rate structure of the contract is also unique. It provides for a fixed cost, a variable cost, a salary contribution linked to the transferred staff, and also ad hoc costs for large maintenance and repairs. And then we have also built-in penalties and incentives linked to several key performance indicators, including water, wastewater quality, blue-green drop performance, etc. The main challenges on the project were that it was a very lengthy process, quite a complicated process, and we had to navigate processes required in terms of various legislation like the MFMA, the Labour Relations Act, the Water Services Act, and the Municipal Asset Transfer Regulations. We also had to provide for negotiations with the unions on the staff transfers. It was quite a lengthy process. And all in all, it was quite time consuming. It took us more than 3 years to complete the whole process from the initial Section 78 process start. And the municipality also needs internal technical expertise to continuously monitor and manage the contract and the operator. The benefits, the contract serves the whole population of the Overstrand, so it benefits all residents in all the towns through the improved efficiencies and optimization, asset preservation, additional focused technical expertise, and maintenance teams were added to the function. That's very important. We have a decrease in treatment losses through the improved efficiencies, improved flexibility. For instance, treatment chemicals, we can try alternatives and implement. With a national shortage of chlorine, it was easier to get alternatives. We have improved risk management, for instance, prevention of sewage spillages, additional job creation in the municipality, also using emerging and small local subcontractors for portions of the work. The operator invests in social responsibility initiatives in needy communities in the municipality. And then the green drop performance by the municipality improved quite a lot since the implementation of the contract, from 9th position nationally to 3rd position in the last assessment. The graph just shows the decrease in the treatment losses at the Hermanus water treatment plant since implementation, from about 20% to 5%. And we also have an abstract from the latest green drop report with some positive comments from the Department of Water and Sanitation. In terms of replication, we have no doubt that the project can be replicated in other municipalities, just with adaptation to local circumstances where needed. Any municipality will, however, have to go through all the required processes in terms of legislation. And there must be political will and top management support to such a process. It will not be possible without council support. And then just lastly, the draft National Water and Sanitation Service Improvement Plan of the Department of Water and Sanitation states that the DWS will encourage the use of effective operation and maintenance contracts and will put mechanisms in place to support the development, implementation, and management of these contracts. So it seems that this kind of mechanism is an option for the future. That is the presentation. Thank you from my side to GreenCape and to the Friedrich Neumann Foundation for providing us the opportunity to do this presentation. Thank you very much.
That was a really interesting presentation from Overstrand Municipality. I particularly found this project very interesting, as the municipality had to develop a special 15-year contract for this particular context, which can be extremely challenging in a municipal context. So I wanted to ask, are there any questions for Henry? You can raise your hand. The team will check if we have any raised hands, or you can post your question in the chat. I see there's no questions. Oh wait, so there is a raised hand. Henry, do you want to unmute yourself? Then you can, and then Ondela, you can ask your question. Please go ahead and unmute yourself.
Thank you for the opportunity, Tyra. Can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly, yes.
Awesome, thank you. 2 questions quickly. I just want to ask, in terms of the financial viability, in terms of trying to have recruitment of such skills and specialties, would it not have proven to be cheaper than a service provider? That's the first. And then secondly, you mentioned improved accessibility to markets and other alternatives. Can you just maybe elaborate on the alternatives referred to there? Thank you.
Thank you, Andela. Henry, are you able to unmute?
Yes, Tyra, I'm unmuted. Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
All right, in terms of the first question, the question was asked with the addition of the specialized skills, if it wouldn't have been more viable to do the function internally, if I understand it correctly.
Yes, that's what I understood as well, yes.
Yeah, so we issued a request for proposals first, and then we shortlisted companies complying with all the requirements for skills and expertise and so on. And then we issued the request for, sorry, I'm the other way around. First, the request for qualification, where companies had to indicate all their qualifications and experience and so on. And then to the shortlisted companies, we issued the request for a proposal where they also had to price. And the prices that we received was really very feasible and viable and within our available budget. So it just proved to be viable. It was comparable with our internal budget at that stage. And then the second question, sorry.
No, carry on.
Access to alternatives and so on. Yeah, it's just that our operator is a large international company where the municipality on its own is quite a small role player. So yeah, they have access and existing service level agreements with the markets. And yeah, we tried alternatives like sodium hypochlorite, yeah, and still looking at others as well. But yeah, it's just they're a bigger role player in the market than the municipality on its own.
That's really amazing that you have access to that now as a municipality, especially since running pilots and testing things is not easy in a municipal context.
Correct.
Ondela, I see that you still have a follow-up question. Please go ahead.
Thank you. No, it's just a clarity. Thank you. I think the second question I'm covered, but the first question was the appointing of service providers versus a recruitment drive to insource the skills into the municipality. That's the financial viability I was referring to. I'm not. I hope I'm clearer.
Yeah, Taira, I wonder if I can take this further offline with Andela.
Yes, I think so. I think so. It might be a more detailed conversation. Yes,
Yeah.
we are.
Yeah.
That's. I'm happy for that. Andela, if you message my colleague Kirti with your email address, we can do an intro to Henry for you afterwards. And I think Henry did provide his email address also at the end of his slideshow. I don't know if you caught it, but we will be providing the slides. So you can drop Henry an email and maybe get more detail. This is exactly what we want. We want shared learnings, right? I mean, and learning from each other so that we can, we don't have to reinvent the wheel each time. So definitely, please do take this conversation offline.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I don't see any more raised hands, and we did have 2 questions. So let me be strict with the process. So I think our next initiative that will be presented is the City of Cape Town's Energy Management System. This will be presented by Nada and Oliver. So we will be playing the video now.
Good day, everyone. I am Nada Kukulela from the City of Cape Town, and I'll be presenting with my colleague Oliver on the Buyback Wastewater Treatment Plant Energy Management System. The picture that you see on the right is after the stage 2 audit with some of our staff members that were involved in the implementation, external auditors and support systems that we had in place. The context: with the growth in population in the City of Cape Town comes the increased need for wastewater treatment service delivery. The more efficient, optimal treatment of wastewater allows for improved water quality from wastewater treatment plants while minimizing energy wasted, doing more with less energy consumption, and utilizing existing infrastructure more efficiently. Buyback Wastewater Treatment Plant was a pilot project that already had a management system in place, which was the ISO 9001 quality. And this allowed for a good foundation as it was easier to incorporate another management system with an existing management system in place. The project is currently in implementation phase and has undergone the ISO ACBS Stage 2 ISO 50001 2018 certification audit process. The project funding: the Division of Revenue Act Energy Efficiency and Demand Side Management grant was utilized over the 2 years to develop the energy management system. The Department of Mineral Resource and Energy administers this grant, and business plans were submitted for project approval. During the project implementation, monthly and quarterly progress reports as well as annual closeout reports were submitted to DMRE. At the bottom picture just shows a cover page submitted to DMRE. The project profitability: the grant provided was 500,000 and has a payback period of 0.3 years. So at the bottom of our slide, we see the energy savings versus years of operation, where you look at the amount of energy saving in rands over the 4-year period versus the accumulated savings in the 4-year period. So the 500 divided by electrical savings of 500,000 by the electrical savings of 1.6 million. The tools developed on this site and documentations are largely and directly transferable to other plants, and hence future certifications will be at a lower cost within the wastewater branch. The internal rate of return is 335 for this project. I'll be handing over to Oliver to continue.
Thank you, Nada. So what makes this project unique? As far as we're aware, this is the first municipal wastewater treatment plant aiming to achieve ISO 50001 energy management certification in South Africa and possibly also in Africa. The wastewater treatment plants in the City of Cape Town represent 1/3 of municipal electrical energy consumption. So focusing on these plants will help in reducing the municipality's carbon footprint. In terms of the challenges of this project on the next slide and how these were overcome. Firstly, there are two technologies on the Belleville wastewater treatment plant. Firstly, the diffuse aeration section of the plant, and then the membrane bioreactor section of the plant. Each of these sections have their own subflow meters, which allow us to apportion the baseline in terms of energy consumption for the different plants. And there are also 15 sub-meters, electrical sub-meters, that allow, again, a separation of the electrical energy use between the two plants and then the flow rates between the two plants. And the driver of energy consumption here is, of course, the megaliter throughput into the sections of the plant. Then another challenge was procurement, and in order to promote not just using the least capital cost, we had to put forward life cycle costing approaches, as well as showcase case studies of other municipal energy efficiency projects and the savings realized from those projects. And as I mentioned, this is the first time that the city has implemented an energy management system, so we had to make use of external consultants that are specialists in this regard. In terms of the benefits, we are aiming to, on the next slide, we're aiming to decouple energy consumption from wastewater service delivery. And over the next 15 years, taking a timeline from 2015 to 2030, the expected population served by Belleville Wastewater Treatment Plant is anticipated to increase by 35%. But because of the energy efficiency interventions, there will only likely be an 8% increase in the energy consumption of the diffuse aeration plant at 9.5 million kilowatt hours a year. The plant also has primary settling tanks that obviously help to save energy on the plant by reducing aeration in the reactors, but they also provide primary sludge that will ultimately go into anaerobic biodigestion plant, a centralized plant, that will generate usable fertilizer instead of that sludge going to landfill, and that's currently 2,727 tons per year. In terms of replication, as Nada mentioned, there are 26 wastewater treatment plants, and this is our first energy management certification. But we will be focusing on plants that have ISO 9001 quality management certification already, like the Westview wastewater treatment plant. And we will also ensure that with an existing tender that's just been awarded, that we train internal staff in terms of internal auditing of energy management systems. We thank you for your time, and please see our contact details below. Thank you.
Thanks to the City of Cape Town for that presentation. I found the energy efficiency improvement and the decoupling of energy use from Belleville's wastewater treatment service increase really amazing. Are there any questions for Nada or Oliver? Not seeing anything in the chat at the moment. And no hands are raised. There's no questions right now. We can always, we can always take questions after all the presentations if there is an urgent question that needs to be addressed. So let us, thank you so much to the City of Cape Town for their presentation. Like I said, it's a really exciting project. We can now move on to the third initiative, which will be presented by George Municipality, which is George Municipality's electricity wheeling project. And this will be presented by Bongani. We can go ahead.
Good day. My name is Bongani Mandla, the Director of the Electrotechnical Services within the George Municipality. I'm presenting today the George Municipality Wheeling Pilot Project on the Green Economy Change Championship within the local government. I believe we can all agree that there's a need for us to accelerate our change in the energy space and become more sustainable and reduce the carbon emissions. Over and above that, these 4 factors are driving the need for us to accelerate the ever-increasing cost of electricity, load shedding that has reached stage 6, how load shedding is impacting our ability to service our customer, as well as its impact to our current aging infrastructure. As a George municipality, we've been in the process of investigating various and different options, and we started that process in order to ensure that we become future-proof for the future markets. We concluded our cost of supply study that has been approved as a part of the first studies to be approved by NERSA. We concluded the integrated resource plan for the city with the help of CSIR. We've also tested the market through various requests for proposals. Further to that, we've also investigated the wheeling project because it was a low risk model. It required no capital investment, and was also going to assist us in building a sustainable business model for the municipality. Our project meant that we needed to have a generator, and that generator, we found a generator that was able to sign what we call a power purchase agreement with an off-taker, one of a client and a customer within our municipal grid. So they've signed a power purchase agreement with those customers. And then this generator then needed to have what we call a use of systems agreement. That means for them to use our municipal grid to transmit the electrons from where they're generating them to their off-taker. So we've then signed the use of systems agreement with the generator, and the generator was able to generate power into our grid. And we then updated what we call a supply agreement with our off-taker for them to be able to take the energy coming from the generator to them and then have an agreement with the generator. So that is our project in a nutshell, and that is why Wheeling has, where energy is generated by a private operator in one location to a buyer who is an off-taker in another location via a third party, which in this case is us, the municipal grid. In the project finance, we then had to use our internal billing teams to understand the changes that needs to happen with the bill, our internal legal teams for the contracts that we needed to set in place. We also had internal planning and design, our engineering team, with the help of a critical intent to drive this process. The key question is, does this affect the municipality financially? No, because we remain revenue neutral. Our use of system cost is the same cost that we would have charged even if we procured the energy from Eskom. So in this case, the third party really is in competition with Eskom. So the lower the third party can make its cost, the better the cost will be for the off-taker, who is the consumer. This project is unique because municipalities are not known for change, and George took this drive to put the customer first. We facilitated this change, directly helping the customers as well as indirectly assisting the municipality. It's an innovative approach that gives customers options, options other than Eskom, without having to use a capital expenditure. So this is very critical, as well as secondly, increasing municipality sustainability as we have more generators connected to our grid. Thirdly, it also assists us to prepare for the competitive market and making ourselves future-proof with the changing energy landscape, as well as the electricity business model. Some of the challenges that we had to face were, legal challenges in terms of contracts, a legal framework, which we resolved through collaborations and consultation. We needed to establish and develop policies and guidelines, and we also needed to, change our billing systems and make sure that we understand the metering processes. And we did all this together with the consultation with NERSA, Council, for approval, customers and the generators to ensure that we pioneer this process. Some of the benefits: a lower energy customer charge. So the customer pays a lower energy charge. The customer has got an option. We've got an increased share of renewable energy. We've got then by default a decrease in greenhouse gas emissions. How to replicate this? We set up this project for scalability, and we are in the process of scaling and automating our metering and billing processes. And we are also in the process of standardizing our use of system agreements and agreements in relation to wheeling. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to George Municipality for presenting their wheeling framework. I was quite impressed by the fact that the wheeling project created a more sustainable business model for the municipality, and that it separated the separates generation from grid provision, which will ensure that the municipality keeps getting the expected revenue independent of the changes happening in the generation space. Are there any questions for George Municipality? For Bongani? Paul, I see that you've raised your hand. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much for sharing the interesting case. This one's close to my heart because I think my first job was standing on the streets of New York, convincing consumers to switch their preferences to renewable energy. And the way that the energy system worked in the city was that it allowed people to select their preference for renewable energy also through wheeling agreements. So I was wondering if you could reflect on how the public is or isn't engaged in these types of decisions. Is there thought to maybe share and I suppose boast a little bit that George is providing energy through renewable sources? Is that part of some future work? That would be really interesting to know how customers or residents are engaged in this choice.
Bongani, would you want to go ahead?
Thank you very much for that question. And once again, good morning to everyone. In terms of the wheeling project, the process has been ongoing. You know, we've gone through council. We had the council approval. We had public participation where we shared the process with the public as well. We've concluded, as indicated, our first use of system with the trader, and we've taken our first transaction earlier this year, and we've already started our billing systems as well. So we are already in a process. We've received close to about, I think, 10 applications from various other traders as well as companies who want to actually start forming part of this use of systems. We are also in the process of engaging some of our big businesses together with our executive mayor, wherein we are sharing some of these opportunities for them as part of our economical drive and development. So that we are doing in order to drive this wheeling process. Currently, one of the key limitations, as I've indicated, is that we've limited it to a 30-minute sort of measurements. But I think as we move forward and strengthen the contractual and automation of the billing system, we are going to allow for even, you know, time of use type of trading aspects, and we are engaging various parties with that. I think the second question, if I heard you, Paul, was around whether we as a municipality are also engaged in renewable projects. I think there's a various amount of renewable projects that we are doing. Commissioned already one 300 kilowatt peak plant. We're in the process of commissioning and sort of tendering to avail about 2 to 3 megawatt peak plants that we want to commission before the end of the June 2023. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bongani. Paul, is your question answered? I assume it is. Okay, no, thank you so much. And it's very exciting to see. And I think, Bongani, I think what's really impressive is that it's already implemented, right? So we've got one generator and I think you said 3 off-takers already, right? Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. We've got one generator with more than 3 off-takers. So I think it's a matter of rolling out further. Thank you.
That's amazing. And I think like this is one of the first few wheeling things that are already implemented, wheeling frameworks that are already implemented. And it's, you know, at a municipality in South Africa. So really, Georgia Municipality is leading the way for us all. So very well done. I think so. We'll jump to the next project that we are talking about today. And this is the City of Umhlatuze's drone technology for non-revenue water, which will be presented by Siboniso. So we can go ahead and play the video.
Good afternoon, colleagues. I'm Siboniso Zungu, representing the City of Umhlatuze. Presentation I'm about to do, it's about using the drone technology for increased water management. And we'll look at the context, which is problem intervention, as well as finding. So in the problem, the city was concerned about water losses in the rural towns of Bobondlovu and Bulindlela within the escalating supply system, where we recorded a high water loss percentage. The main purpose of this project was to help municipality to assess the cause of high water losses, whether they were likely due to burst pipes or unreported leakage system. So upon deploying the use of drone technology, we did a gap analysis which confirmed the urgent need for us as the municipality to improve the water supply to traditionally managed areas. At the same time, while we're trying to decrease the unbilled consumption in this region. Main objective of the pilot was undertaken using the drone technology to measure the population increases, calculate average per capita water consumption, as well as to understand the extent of water losses in order to improve water supply planning. So I will go past, and my findings will be detailed later in the summary. The project funding was through the partnership with the Natural Resources Stewardship Program, which is NATURE's, supported by German International Cooperation Agency, GIZ, together with the Umhlatuze Water Stewardship Partnership, EUWASP. A gap analysis, as mentioned before, was to determine and improve the water supply within these traditional areas, and the other points have been highlighted, as well as a partnership donated a drone to the municipality and also funded the 3 municipal officials to obtain drone licenses. And then, was the project profitable? To be honest, it wasn't, because the study area, it's a rural town where currently municipality is struggling to gain any revenue in the area, although there are some water meters in the area, but it's not enough to cover and service everyone. So we implemented some control measures by reducing the volume of water that goes through these areas, as it can be seen in this picture. This is the live photo taken from the portal that controls the water going through the Bobondlovu area. Other initiatives is to formalize the water network through improved reticulation. So the municipality is in a plan to reticulate the area fully, as well as currently engage in customer awareness and education, because currently there is rationing of water. As you can see, there are some point in time of the day where we close the water off, and then during the peak hours, we just open to feed the community. What makes the project unique? There was the use of a drone technology, because our GIS system is so outdated that we could not ascertain what was the cause of high water losses. So through a drone, it improved us in sourcing the data without impacting on the environment. So a drone can be used for the number of things listed below. what were the benefits in the project? So what we discovered is that we were reporting on half of what the population or the household were in the area. So the area had no losses actually, but the community had increased or sort of tripled based on the census of 2011 that we were using. So we picked up that the population had increased, and the demand also showed that whatever the community was consuming, it was in line with what is expected within the coastal towns. The other study area was Vulindlela. This one, municipality got an idea of what needs to be done when it comes to conserving water, because losses were found to be high. So the drone was not fully deployed in this area. It was partially, but the results indicated the need to go full force in implementing measures to reduce water loss. And in summary, the project did help in understanding that the high percentage in the chosen area of study was not due to the water being lost in the system, but it was due to the increased population, and it helped prove that the number of households were being reported on had actually doubled, leading to high water losses. As mentioned earlier, these are the uses of a drone to improve whatever you want to do in the system. The challenge just highlights, it was mostly technical one. The drone battery does not last more than 2 hours. Windy condition forced us to abandon the exercise for several days, and also to operate the device, technical team needed to undergo a training, which is more like pilots to obtain a pilot license to operate a drone, which takes a lot of time and work. It needs a lot of effort to get the license. So those were minor challenges. And the replication, it's just the highlights of what has been highlighted before. And I would like to thank you, and my details are.
Thank you very much to the City of Umhlatuze for their project. I think drone technology, we know, is becoming increasingly popular in the private sector. However, this project demonstrated that it can also add a lot of value in the municipal landscape as well, especially in providing quick ways of sourcing data. And I think that was really impressive. Is there any questions for Siboniso? I'm not seeing any hands raised or any questions. Georgina, please go ahead and ask your question.
Thanks. This is a really interesting project, and I found the application of the technology obviously interesting. I was wondering what type of interventions you had in mind that would be informed by this project, because it's an intervention to assess the needs on the ground. But what is the response that you have in mind for something like this project? Just to get a sense of what that would be. Thanks.
Siboniso, can you respond?
Okay, thanks for the question, and good morning, colleagues. Like mentioned in the presentation, one of the major interventions that we're currently undergoing, we've just finished a detailed design of a full reticulation to the area of Kobandlovu. That's where the main focus is, because the number of properties and the consumers in that area are so much, and they're also struggling with the water supply. As you saw in the picture that was there, they get rationed. Some time of the day they get closed off, and later on we open them. So the idea is to improve their water supply fully, and while we reticulate them, then we will install full water meters that can be read, and then the municipality maybe can be in a position through the partnership with traditional local leadership to educate customers to pay for the service that they will be getting. As for Vulindlela, the plan there is just to, because it's a challenging one. It's close to the university, and the properties that are around there, they accommodate students. So that one needs intervention from the municipality to deal with it. And yeah, the municipality is at a stage where they are engaging with the property owners on that one. Thank you.
Thanks, Sibaniso. I think Georgina posted a further question in the chat. So basically she's asking, how does the technology help you design the intervention? So is the technology only used for gathering data, or does it also help you implement the solution to some extent? Can you be using it? Can you use it with the reticulation network design or something like that?
Yes, we can, because it helped guide us as to what to do. So yes, we can. You can use the technology to guide you in terms of how you're gonna go with your design. Thank you.
I think we may have lost Tahira, but we're now going to have Nkomazi Municipality present, and that's going to be presented by Nomuntu.
I am from Anton Recycling. Anton Recycling is a project that's in collaboration with the Nkomazi local municipality. Next slide, please. The challenges faced by Nkomazi local municipality is that as a municipality, we are seeing that there's an increase in population and thus increasing the waste that is produced per household. We also have a challenge with limited funding to upkeep and increase municipal infrastructure for collections. And also we're having a challenge with the geographical coverage of the municipality, as it is widespread with about 55 wards in the municipality. We also have high farming activity in the municipality, and with limited resources, it's making it difficult for the municipality to achieve its service delivery targets for the whole municipality. So the municipality decided to collaborate with a young entrepreneur and create a buyback center that can collect recyclables, thus diverting both wet and dry waste from the landfill. This buyback center is called Anton Recycling Buyback Center, and it's currently in the operational phase, piloting stage, as it's less than a year old at this point in time. Next slide, please. The project was funded through the business itself, Anton Recycling. As a private business, the company qualified for more funding opportunities outside the municipal budgeting processes. This allowed that the funds that are allocated to the municipality can continue to service the current infrastructure as they are doing, and the additional funds that will be received by the project will then be used to start this new project and pilot it. Anton Recycling, through the assistance of CEDA, created a business plan. That's how the funding process worked. And using that business plan, they applied for a number of funding opportunities available to private businesses. The business was funded this year in 2022 by the Premier's office through a funding that was released called the Mpumalanga Youth Development Fund. The collaboration with the municipality assisted greatly with the funding application, as the Premier's office find it favorable to work with companies that are recognized by the local municipalities. Next slide, please. The project mostly is targeting grant funding, and the reason for this is because there's a high social aspect to the project. The initiatives that are embarked by this project include, but are not limited to, the piloting stage of processing organic waste from the farming businesses in the municipality using black soldier flies, as well as including environmental cleanup and awareness campaigns, as well as buying back waste from independent waste collectors, either at their homes or at landfill. Next slide, please. What makes the project very unique, it's the impact that the project has. The impact has environmental impacts, farming business impact, individual and service delivery impact. In terms of environmental, the business is currently diverting a minimum of 30 tons of waste from landfills using a recyclable material as well as organic material. For the farming businesses, the project is assisting the farming business comply with their GAP standards, including crop life standards that they need to comply with, as well as processing of organic waste for them instead of them creating illegal dumping sites at their sites. With respect to individuals, the company actually assists those individuals have a secondary form of income through selling their waste to the buyback center. And in terms of service delivery, the business is assisting the municipality collecting areas that the municipality currently cannot reach due to limited infrastructure. Next slide, please. What are the key challenges and how were they overcome for the project? The biggest challenge right now in the project is transport. As the fuel price goes up, the transport for collecting waste from the buyback center and delivering it to clients is increasing rapidly. The project currently sells waste in Johannesburg, which is about 500 kilometers from the buyback center. This implies that every time the fuel price goes up, so do the transporting cost for this business. What would actually assist this challenge is developing manufacturing companies that can absorb some of the waste collected locally. Next slide, please. The benefits of the project, as previously explained with the impact, is that we are currently servicing about 500 households who are selling their waste to the buyback center. We're diverting a minimum of 30 tons of waste from landfill site, and we're also assisting farmers comply with their crop life and GAP requirements. Next slide, please. Is the project replicable? Yes, we believe that the project is replicable. However, the project is quite capital intensive as the machinery and transport required for the project are quite high in terms of capital costs. However, with government support and with partnership with private sector, we believe that each municipality can actually have its own buyback center diverting waste from the landfill. The project can also be implemented as a non-profit project where funds can be sourced from grant funders who fund environmental impact non-profit organizations for the machinery. The project actually assists the municipality, as previously explained, process both organic and domestic waste through land reclamation, collection from farmers, collection from retailers, and collection from individuals. This is increasing the service delivery. So we believe that this project can be replicable with enough resources given to the project. Organic waste is particularly a challenge in most municipalities. And we've seen that through the black soldier flies, we can actually solve this problem because the black soldier flies process organic waste much quicker than you would in a normal compost manufacturing process. Process that takes about 6 months is reduced to a process of about 6 to 8 weeks. Next slide, please. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us at info@antam.co.za. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much to Nkomazi Municipality's Antum Recycling Project. Sorry for the disruption. I apologize for getting kicked off. We found this project particularly interesting because it demonstrated that the value that can be unlocked from our municipal waste streams, whilst also extending the landfill lifespan. Unfortunately, Namuntu couldn't join us today. I think I think any questions will have to be forwarded to her, to GreenCape, or to her email address directly. We do have a little bit more time. Is there any questions that needed to be asked to any of the other speakers? We can take one or two if there are any. I'm not seeing any raised hands or any questions. Okay, then we can continue with the program. To identify the winning initiative, GreenCape reached out to various municipal sustainability specialists to assist us with the evaluations. We're seeing the wrong view, guys. We need to change the view. Sorry. We reached out to various municipal sustainability specialists to assist with the evaluations. We were very fortunate to have an amazing group of judges. So the judges were Georgina Ryan, who's the Director of Environmental Economics within the Economic Policy Division at the National Treasury. She was previously employed by the Department of Science and Innovation as the Deputy Director for Green Economy, where she was responsible for project management and policy development, providing support for environmental services and the technology sectors. We also had Anthea Steffens as a judge. She is the Climate and Sustainability Component Lead for the City Support Program, also at National Treasury. She was previously the Director of the National Grasslands Program at the South African National Biodiversity Institute and the Acting Country Director and Program Manager for the International Union for Conservation of Nature. Our third judge was Dr. Henry Roman. He's the Director of Environmental Services and Technologies at the Department of Science and Innovation. Henry has 16 years experience in the National System of Innovation in various roles, with 10 of these at the DSI. Henry has led the development of 2 roadmaps related to the green economy ambitions of South Africa. He also has oversight of the WADA platform, which is implemented by the Water Research Commission. Henry is currently working on developing a framework for circular economy. Our fourth judge was Dora Morema, who is the head of the municipality at Salga, our opening speaker for today. And our fifth judge is Paul Curry. He's the manager of urban systems at ICLEI Africa, where he supports local governments to apply system perspectives to food, water, energy, and nature, and facilitates the development of policies and plans appropriate to contexts of change and uncertainty. Unfortunately, Henry and Anthea could not make it today. However, Georgina, Dora, and Paul are going to share a few words about their top 3 favorite initiatives from the shortlisted top 5. Dora, would you like to go first? And then we can follow by Georgina and then Paul. Is that okay? Sorry, Dora. Maybe Georgina, do you want to start so long, and then we can go back to Dora and then Paul?
Sure, great, not a problem. Thanks so much, Tara, and thanks so much to all the participants today. It was really good listening to the presentations again, to be reminded of the work that's gone in. I have a few remarks in general, and then I just wanted to comment on specific projects. I think what stood out for me this year was a clear alignment between your goals as a municipality to achieve sustainability outcomes, and also the way in which you were going to do that. So very much a pathway for how you wanted to achieve that. I think you've also, as a collective, done a lot of work to implement both international best practice as well as innovating in your respective sectors. What we saw is the application of time and tested methodologies around energy efficiency, getting into the contracting of partnerships that are going to work for your institution, and also consulting widely and using the skills and the expertise in your sector, not only relying on your own institutional resources. And I think that stood out for me this year. I really appreciated the calculation of the return on investment, the resources required, not just in terms of finances, but the people and the resources for teams, and also projecting that into the future, looking at what that's going to mean for your institutions. What I did pick up across the projects is that there's very much a case to be made for these sustainability solutions. They come down to the cost, they come down to the feasibility of implementation. So there's a lot that goes into the detail of working out these projects. One thing I wanted to look out for this year was how to improve the sustainability of the projects themselves. How are we going to make sure that each of these projects is around in 10 years' time? And what I was surprised to see is that built into a lot of the design, be it the contracting or the consultation processes, it's clear that this has been thought through. And I think that is really going to position the municipalities for that long-term impact. And importantly, you focused on capacity building for your own institutions, for the people working on the projects to keep monitoring the projects and be involved. So I saw the SMART principles coming through very strongly this year, and it was impressive. Even though various projects are at different stages, I think what you can pick up this year very strongly is that there's a consideration for how it's going to progress and proceed. And I did like the application of different technologies. I think that's coming through strongly as well. I think we want to keep the innovation focus throughout. For me, an impressive project was the Overstrand bulk water intervention. I didn't think I knew before that it took 3 years to develop, even though it's locked you in for a 15-year contract. The 3 years of development, that's your sweat equity. That is the time that you've put in to get this particular project off the ground. It's very meticulous in its detail about the contracting arrangements. And this has its benefits for the management of these key investments. I think protecting the investments that you make as a municipality allows you to then deliver services in other areas. So I think it has a whole system-wide impact. We see really thought through considerations for how to design your systems on the energy management side. I think that was a very ambitious project from the city of Cape Town, and it requires very detailed planning. So that to me stood out as a key part of what you were trying to do. And then I think the innovations around buyback centers and working on the waste sector, this is a very tricky space to work in because there are very few revenue opportunities in designing your intervention, but keeping a close eye on costs and protecting your project from a sustainability perspective, considering other avenues and things to do in your project. That stood out for me because there's a lot of impact in our waste sector that we want to advance, we want to protect, and we want to make sure that we have broad participation. So I think the waste sector innovation also stood out for me because there's some consideration for how to make this project sustainable in the long term, how to bring extra partners on board, how to make this a really long-serving intervention. So yeah, I just want to thank all the municipalities that put in the hard work. You did make it difficult for us as judges to make this assessment. And it's always refreshing for me to see the work that goes into these interventions and the key role that municipal officials are playing in driving this change. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Georgina. Dora?
No, thank you so much, Tahira, and apologies earlier, I had to take a call. So yeah, I think I'd like to echo the same sentiments echoed by Georgina. Really appreciative of the initiatives. I know that all of you didn't start this projects or these initiatives to be able to qualify for these awards. This is your everyday life in terms of how you are providing services to your own community. So for me, that's really the spirit that we want to amplify. It is really not about that one particular winner. It is about all of you, I think, really being acknowledged for the work that you do and for the innovation that you bring into this work. And I think a lot of municipalities, we have 257 municipalities, and we've got 5 finalists right? So you are really the lead in the pack. You really, I'm looking at you to be able to inspire the rest of local government. Like I said in my opening statement, there are opportunities for greening and for climate response within your service delivery, functions that you perform on a daily basis. However, it is very much difficult at times to be able to have a frame of reference, or in terms of how do you apply that in a waste management service? How do you apply that in a wastewater treatment plant? How do you apply that in providing electricity to your citizens? And I think we are beginning to show, and I really got excited about particularly the wheeling project. I think the colleagues can tell, because we for us as local government, we see that as a breakthrough, and something that is so relevant to what we are grappling with in terms of energy security in this country, and to have a smaller municipality really doing to have a municipality leading in terms of really cracking all the barriers that are there, and really showcasing or in terms of how it is done. For me, I found that exciting. But I could say this in terms of all of these 5 finalists, they stood out. It was very difficult, as Georgina was saying. It was not very easy to actually end up with a winner, which is why I really inherently do not like competitions, Tahir. But we have to do it. We have to do it. And I think if it were me, then all of these municipalities are really winners at the end of the day. So appreciative of you, GreenCape, for affording us as local government an opportunity to be able to showcase the work that gets done, because we only hear about the bad things when it comes to municipalities. We never get to hear about this exciting thing. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dora. I really agree with you. I mean, these projects are amazing. And every time we do this, we get like so inspired to see what's happening around the country. And I talk about it far and wide, because often people complain, even the normal community complain about what's being done in municipalities, and we never really talk about these awesome stuff that's actually happening. Now whenever I hear somebody complain in my family, I start listing the amazing things that I am aware of that's happening in our country. So I think really such inspiring things is happening across the country and in the sustainability space. Paul, please go ahead.
Thanks so much, Tara, and some big appreciation for being invited in as a judge, and to all of the local governments who've put forward the projects. This really is a pleasure to be able to have a look and go through them. And what strikes me overall is why this is an exciting session, but also an exciting process to look through the projects, is because it really gives the details of what needs to happen behind the scenes, a lot of the hidden moving that needs to be done in terms of writing up contracts, in terms of getting approvals, in terms of the technical detail that's needed on these projects. And I think a lot of that is lost in a lot of the buzzword space where I typically operate. And so where people are throwing around circular economy, sustainability, inclusivity, and a lot of colleagues will say, well, what does it mean if I walk out my door to know that I'm in a sustainable society or an inclusive society? What does that actually look like? And so I think these projects are really great for showcasing the amount of work that needs to go in to actually make it happen. So I think that's what strikes me when looking at these foremost, is the amount of contracting and admin work that needs to be done in order to actually move the needle on sustainability. I think Georgina and Dora have shared some of what was interesting around the energy efficiency and bulk water projects. Actually, from all 5, what I think has been interesting to me is that there's been acknowledgement of the benefits of different types of stakeholders. So, I mean, if I look at George and the wheeling agreement, I mean, it really excites me because it acknowledges that that sustainability is something we have to do with multiple partners. And it says the private sector can be more flexible in terms of providing energy. And a wheeling agreement is really saying, we demand it, we want it. And so to see, as Dora said, a municipality creating demand for renewable energy alongside and perhaps sometimes in spite of national government efforts is really exciting. So to then also see in Nkomazi how through actually a national youth development fund, an entrepreneur has come to offer a solution which has then been supported by local government and engaged with by local government, to see the role of a business incubator in supporting that business to grow as well, I think is really interesting. So to acknowledge those behind the scenes activities that have kind of led to these projects, I think is really great. And then a nod to the Umhlatuze work with the drones and data collection. A lot of our work on circular economy as a buzzword has kind of made assumptions about evidence-based decision-making. And if we can just get the data on how much resources we're using, we'll have the answers. And I think this is a really great example of how the technology was used to get data on water losses and actually revealed many more things going on with regards to demography and population growth. And what I really like about that is that these data can be used by different departments. So even if it was initially sought for one purpose, it's useful for others. And I think the questions in my mind there are how do we really improve the culture of using facts and evidence for decision making, and what's needed for that. So overall, it's been really wonderful to be able to read and get insights into the details of these projects. And I look forward to seeing how they can be shared beyond and spread to other municipalities. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Paul, and thank you to all the judges for your valuable feedback. I should also mention, I think I did not envy y'all's position of having to shortlist the top 5 because all the submissions were really, really impressive and innovative in their own right. So we now have arrived to the best part of today, which is actually announcing the winning initiative. The winning municipality will receive the opportunity to produce a video production demonstrating the project, which will be shared on various platforms. Cecilia, I will now hand over to you to announce the winner.
Thank you so much, Tahira. Wow, I think what we heard today was really mind-blowing and so impressive. And as we said in the beginning, there are not enough opportunities to give recognition to outstanding projects being delivered at local government level. Thank you for what you do. It truly is inspiring, and it's really phenomenal to see. And thank you for your time and putting together these presentations and sharing the details of how these projects are actually put together. And now, yeah, we have arrived at the moment of announcing the winner, and the winning municipality is, but as I think Dora already said, everyone's a winner. These five projects have been phenomenal. But for this particular competition, the winner is Overstrand Municipality with their outsourcing of bulk water services operation and maintenance projects. Congratulations to the Overstrand Municipality.
Thank you so much, Cecilia. Congratulations to Overstrand. I think this project, like we said, is really impressive. Henry, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, thank you, Tahira. And yeah, morning again, everybody. Yeah, all that I can say is thank you, thank you, thank you. It's really a great honor for Overstrand to be adjudged the winner. And we really appreciate it, especially after competing against such excellent projects. And yeah, also congratulations to the other 4 municipalities on the excellent submissions and their presentations. It's really encouraging for us also to see the outstanding work that is being done in the green economy space. And please keep up the good work and all of the best with your projects. And yeah, then lastly, just to GreenCape and the Friedrich Neumann Foundation for Freedom, thank you for creating this platform for showcasing municipal projects. We really appreciate it. And it's an opportunity to be embraced by municipalities. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much, Henry, and congratulations on the really amazing project. As a water scarce country, we really need to do everything we can to optimize the efficiency of its use. And I think this is a really cool example of what can be done to ensure that we make the most of our resources to ensure long-term service delivery. I hope that the other municipalities here today will reach out to you to see how they can pursue something similar, because we are definitely looking forward to, making a video production of the project and sharing more learnings. So I think this brings us to the end of our program today. We have finished early again, but that's great, everybody. But anyway, before I end off, I'd like to say that our goal today was not only to highlight the amazing initiatives that are being implemented across South Africa, but also to demonstrate that it is possible to deliver service in a sustainable manner. And if these municipalities can do it, you definitely can too. If you are interested in contacting any of the municipalities, please do reach out to the GreenCape team. We are happy to share contact details so that you can engage with each other. And GreenCape and the Project Foundation would like to thank all the municipalities who submitted their initiatives. You may not have been top 5, but you're doing amazing work to not only improve service delivery, but also sustainability in our country. We are therefore hoping to develop a project list of all these initiatives in the future that could hopefully be shared on a central platform, so that we could learn from each other and know who's doing what, and so that we can engage and leverage each other's already knowledge and learnings. I would like to thank all the judges for assisting us in this process of adjudication. I know it wasn't easy. And lastly, I would also like to thank the Frederick Naumann Foundation for providing GreenCape with the opportunity to showcase these extraordinary initiatives. We really enjoy this initiative, and I think I'd like to shine a light on what amazing stuff is happening around the country. Thank you very much, everyone, and I hope you have a great day.